I've not used this before, so I'm just trying it out.
Hey man, it's been too long since we sat down and that just feels wrong. Allow me to give my head a shake, open my eyes and fix a mistake. Do you wanna come over? Just like the old times, we'll hit pause and then hit a rewind. You wanna come over? Just like the old days, and we'll watch the time just fly. Hey buddy, no strangers here. These times I hold them dear. My door's open, so come on in. This was great, let's do it again. Do you wanna come over? Just like the old times, we'll hit pause and then hit rewind. You wanna come over? Just like the old days, and we'll watch the time just fly. Do you wanna come over? Just like the old times, we'll hit pause and then hit rewind. You wanna come over? Just like the old days, and we'll watch the time just fly.
Look at us.
My favorite.
Hanging out, having a good time, ready to talk about the dynamic duo of Robin and Superman.
It is
Yeah.
my favorite night of the week is Tuesday, Toy Biz Tuesday, I call it over here in Canada.
I call it Wednesday wind up.
Now, see,
Either way, it works.
both a thing can be two things.
Yeah, it can be two things. It's whatever you want it to be. I'll tell you what. I'm super excited. Yesterday it wasn't yesterday. It feels like yesterday. Last week we did Batman.
Yeah,
89. Batman 89. Great. We got a lot out of what was essentially what I thought a 3-figure line, which you corrected me and said, actually, no, there's a lot more zany alterations to, especially Batman, which I had no idea about, which is pretty cool. But today we're going to have a little bit more variety.
Yeah.
Right. And I know next to nothing. If that's all right with you, Adam, I'm coming into the stream with next to no knowledge
get out your notepad.
of this. I know I had some of these characters, but then I started to think, wait, did I have the Toy Biz ones? Did I have the Kenner ones? Which ones did I have? Because they're so similar.
Here's the thing: you and I have bonded over a great many things.
Correct.
One of which is our love for westerns and the Wild West. I think Toy Biz, in this first run, was the closest to the Wild Wild West in the toy industry ever. Like they really just shot from there.
I love it. All right, so before we get into it, real quick, we're going to say hi to the chat. Some more of our super friends have shown up. I did see Sorensen in the chat earlier. He was here like 2 days ago. For some reason, his comment's now gone, but hello to you from like 2 days ago. Gap After Dark is here with a hello to everyone. Pericles, how are you, my friend? Hey, everyone. I bet you he knows a lot about this stuff. Cindy has made it again. Hello. Good to see you. Hey, it's Gofigure. We know this guy from Friendship.
From French.
Brother Malachi in the house.
I believe that's pronounced Malachi.
Malachi. Is it?
No,
Is it?
No, it's not.
Have I been calling you something wrong? No, yeah. Good to see you, buddy. Nice to see you drop in. Hello, super people. One of our favorite super people, Phil, Treasure for Trigger. Are you back home yet, Phil? Or are you still out and about with
on a school trip?
School trip. G-Force Racing 20. How are you, my friend? And 2JC. Super killing it over where he is at the moment on his channel. Loving it. Not sure who this is. Does my name show up on Facebook? No. That's weird. Just kidding, Ken. It shows. There it is. Good to see you, bud. It does show up. Sometimes it doesn't, though, for people.
Yeah.
So, Malachi, like you said the first time. Yeah. Adam was just being silly. What a silly
I
duck.
apologize if that was offensive. That's it's no Bible college joke. Is the the Spanish
Somehow
Malachi.
I feel like this comment is true.
Yeah.
Like I believe this comment. I believe it. Say hi to Rolf for us.
Yeah. Excellent. Look at all the legends out here tonight to talk about, or to hear us talk about, Toy Biz. Now, in the history of toys, this is really the first time you got a second shot at a toy line, because it's essentially they just did Kenner superpowers, and so
Right.
Jeff was hanging out with me the other night in the Bitter Asian Dudes live stream. Paul Sung Lee, who was on our epic race video.
Oh yeah, that's gone back a while.
Yeah, he's got a great channel. He does Sunday nights. It's brilliant.
Cool. I'll check it out.
Yeah. So anyways, you got to redo it. They essentially did the same toy line again. And I don't think that's happened since. We've got different versions, but this was really much just one company trying to do exactly what another company did. And we're going to take a look at that today.
All right, let me pull up your slides in a second. We'll just say a quick hello to Joe Fan. Can't stay because I'm working, so I'll catch you on the replay. All good, my friend. Thanks for dropping by. All right, let me bring up your. Whoop.
All right, so just a quick little review. Toy Biz started as a Canadian company, Sharon Toys. We talked about that last week. And Sharon's Karen. So in Canada, it was Sharon Toys. These figures were branded under that, and everywhere else in the world, it was Toy Biz. And
that blew my mind.
Blew your mind. So there's two. You can see the two packages there. One says Sharon Toys, one says Toy Biz, and that's it's hard to find a Toy Biz of these first couple lines in Canada. Easy to find the Sharon ones. So all of my Toy Biz ones are Sharon here, up until my Silver Surfer. That's the first Toy Biz one I have chronologically. So
hi, Mike.
We talked about the importance of 1989 being the Batman year and these figures coming out with Batman. But in that transition between 89 and 1990, or so here's the Batman figures. But in the transition between 89 and 1990, Toy Biz was developing this Batman line. And they said, we have our superpowers base figures, and we're kind of doing our own versions of them. Let's just do them all. Let's do a bunch of them. So they said, we're going to do a DC line that ties in with Batman. They're essentially the same line. The cards are a little bit different. There's red stars on the DC ones, and they're called DC Superheroes, and it's with the purple stars. But the cards look the same. You can kind of look at them and say they're the same line. They're cousins at least. And so they brought this assortment. These are the figures they picked to do, plus a couple extra we're going to talk about in a second. But you want your Batman, your Superman, your Penguin, your Mr. Freeze, your Wonder Woman, your Robin, and your Lex Luthor. And so you could see they're really trying to pad the character selection for the Batman movie, but they couldn't put Robin in a Batman movie card. So this was kind of a partner line to those releases. So what we're going to do here today, my friend, is we are going to look at each figure, and then we're going to compare it to its Kenner counterpart.
Excellent.
That was the goal. And we're going to ask you what you think you gave it out of 10. How good did Toy Biz do from a 0 to a 10?
Perfect.
Right.
That sounds fun.
This is going to be a little Toy Biz game. So you can take a look at the cards here. Again, lots of the same colors. It very much looks like the same idea. We see more card variations from different waves of the same figure now to how close these are. So this is again, I did my Secret Wars video last night, and I said in the comments, you don't see toys that pop with colors like this anymore. These are just brilliant.
Yeah, they really do jump out. So you want me to rate the these two?
We're gonna get there, sir.
I'll wait.
You're jumping the gun. So
I'm just excited.
So you can see here, there's the Sharon Toys one and the Toy Biz one. So even in the DC Heroes, it's the same thing. Okay, and then so this is nifty. This could never happen today. But all the figures on the back of this card, with the exception of the Riddler, who we're going to get into in a minute, and Lex Luthor, who's a different sculpt, are just Kenner figures. They didn't even repaint them like they repainted Batman and the Joker. They just took Kenner figures and said, "Yeah, we're going to do those." And
We're
they just
doing this. Yeah.
can you imagine if when McFarlane took over from Mattel with the DC line, they just put pictures of Mattel toys in the back and said, "Yeah, we'll get close to that."
Yeah, close enough. Yeah, that is crazy.
It's
Lex
nuts.
Luthor especially is like it stands out the most as the biggest departure from what they ended up going with, but everything else looks almost one for one, right?
Yeah. So Lex Luthor is a Lex Luthor and the Riddler are not. Well, Riddler is. We're going to talk about him in a second. But everything else wasn't a repaint, wasn't a retool. It was just they took a Kenner figure, took a picture, put it in the back, and said, "Let's see how close we can get." Like it's unbelievable.
That is cheeky.
It really is. To me, it's quite a gutsy move, but it paid off.
Yeah.
This is a very sought after and well remembered toy line.
So how far between in years were the original figures to the Toy Biz ones?
So 84 Kenner came out, and they stopped in 86, and then 89 these kind of came out. So about three years from the last time you could get them. So they were long enough that kids had broken them by then, but not long enough that you were a different generation of kids. Right?
Yeah, I hear you. So this could have been hey, if you have these toys in your toy box, we're bringing out more. If you miss one, you got. Pericles saying Lex went from one power suit to another. I agree.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about the history of the power suit that he has in this line, because there is a lineage there. Yeah,
How are you, Blues?
DC superheroes. So now, do you know the official way, the real telltale way to tell a Toy Biz from a Kenner? If you're digging through a bin and you pull out a Robin.
Yeah.
How do you right away say this is a Toy Biz versus a Kenner?
I'm not too sure.
So lots of them have buttons and stuff on the back that Kenner didn't, but some of them don't.
Right.
But the Toy Biz ones you can see here have a metal rivet in the knee. And the Kenner ones have a pinless joint. So that's like Mr. Freeze we're going to get into in the Penguin are so eerily close.
Look at Phil calling us out like this. Unbelievable. I thought we were friends, Phil.
We were
unbelievable. We're getting old, mate. We can't help it.
Can't help it. But the pin is and those silver pins remain in Toy Biz right through the X-Men line. They did the whole gambit of them. So, you ready for this, brother?
I'm ready. How are you, Largo? Good to see you, buddy.
Largo's here. So we're going to start going through these figures here. So we have Superman. Now, the Kenner Superman figure, you squeeze his legs together and he did the power punch. This DC superheroes figure, they put a magnet in his chest and a flipped over magnet in a green ring that was human sized. So you could put the ring up to him and he would shake and fall over. That was his whole gimmick.
That's a pretty cool gimmick.
It's a pretty cool gimmick. It was. I remember playing with it as a kid and having fun with it. You can see this Superman's a little wider than the Kenner one, and there they are side by side. So this is Toy Biz trying to do a superpower Superman. And so what do you give this?
Alrighty, so which one's which again?
The one in the middle is the Toy Biz one.
Gotcha. All right,
So
the one on
this is the Toy Biz one,
yeah.
and there's the Kenner one.
Is that to scale? Because Superman looks a lot taller. I don't want to judge it based on that.
Yeah,
but
so
I think
the Toy Biz one's a little bit zoomed in.
I think I prefer the S on the first figure that came out. The Toy Biz one's the S just seems a little bit lower.
Yep.
Like almost too much on the stomach than the chest.
Yep.
But am I judging it on its comparison to it, or is it
Yeah, just like which one do you think did it better? No, how close do you think they got? Because they were trying to do
they
that.
did it pretty close, but I kind of feel like the original one is a little bit more how I imagine Superman. It almost looks like they used a slide-on decal for the chest, and it slid down too far.
Yeah. So I often will use a Toy Biz Superman to make a Bizarro for the Superpowers line because he just seems a little bit bulkier, a little bit bigger, a little bit off. Yeah, but it was a good attempt, and that Superman figure, as a kid, I played with it for a long time with both of these. So it wasn't the worst culprit that we're going to come into today.
A great gimmick, though. In fact, if you're not going to give him a super punch, then having the ability to play hands-free essentially with you're wearing a ring, that's not hands-free, but you know what I mean. Like the gimmick itself does not require you to do anything physically to Superman. You hold up the kryptonite and he's affected by it. Great idea, love it. But I do think the look of the original Kenner one is better, personally.
Yeah. Treasures for Triggers hit on the nose. He says one of them has more of a curl in the front of his head. Yeah. So the Kenner one is a much better head sculpt with more of a curl. Kenner nailed it, and Toy Biz tried really hard.
They did try.
Yeah.
Decepticonicus here. How are you, buddy?
What a great channel. I just kind of fell down that guy's rabbit hole. It's
Same.
It's good news. So moving on here, as we have Wonder Woman. Now, she's not saying hello to you. Her default position is arm in the air.
Wow, okay.
Because she has a big switch in the back that makes her go lasso whip power.
Okay.
But if you're just standing there doing nothing, she is either hailing a taxi cab or she's trying to infiltrate the Nazis. That's the two things she should be doing, right?
Mm.
And if we compare it to the Superpowers Wonder Woman.
Which one's which again?
Okay, so the one that is
all right. So I think this one's also a no-brainer. Two reasons. One, the arm isn't always up in the air, and again, the chest is a little bit better on this one. If you get my meaning.
Also, the Superpowers one, you squeeze her legs together, and she brought her wrists like she was stopping bullets, which was great. And
hey, Will, how are you, buddy? Good to see you.
By no way, shape, or form am I body shaming anybody, and that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is the superheroes, the Toy Biz one, her legs are exactly the same size as Superman's legs. They didn't give her lady legs.
Yikes! Yeah, I guess Kenner. I mean, the face on the Toy Biz one, I like.
Mm-hmm.
I think I prefer the stars on the Kenner one, and I obviously the fact that the arm can not be in the always up position.
Right.
Great card art though. But yeah. Again, Kenner got it for me. Master Versal Toy Hunter, how are you, mate?
And there was a variant with this that came with no stars on the.
Is that right?
Yeah, there was some of those. So yeah, again, the Toy Biz ones look fun and great until you put them next to the real thing.
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of like Catch Me If You Can. It's hard to find a counterfeit bill unless you have a real one in your hand.
And
I think that's what's
all
going
right.
on.
I'm starting to see a pattern here.
Yeah. So next up we have Robin.
Space Commander's favorite.
Stacy's favorite.
Stacy loves Robin. Yep.
Now Robin came with a grappling hook and a batarang, the same batarang as the movie Batman, so there was a little tie in there. But the Superpowers one famously had a karate chop leg squeeze action that was flawless. This guy had a karate chop action where you would lift his arm up, it would click into place, and then you push a button to release it. And it just seemed too convoluted for me when the Superpowers one was perfect. And here is the Superpowers Robin right there.
Okay, so I feel like both of these could be looked at and go, we could turn a whole movie line into this one look. But I'm going to say, so the cape on the Kenner ones, I think capes across the board on Kenner are iconic. It's hard to, and it shouldn't be that different, but it really is. I'm going to say this is probably closer than the others have been. Yeah. I like the thinner lines on the buckles for the Toy Biz one for the straps there, or the buckles, whatever's keeping Robin's shirt on. Yeah. But I don't like the thickness of the R as much as I like the thinner print for the Kenner one. So I'm going to say by a margin, I think I'm going the original again. But this one's closer than the other two.
Yeah, again, Robin was one of the closest ones that Toy Biz came, for sure.
Like, I think his belt buckle being a little bit lower also looks better on the Toy Biz one.
Yeah, the Toy Biz torso, the proportions are almost a little bit better, aren't they?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So moving on here.
Great legs, though.
We come to the Penguin.
Yep.
Okay. Now the Penguin, there was two variants. One where the top of the umbrella flew off like a missile, and one where it had a long missile you put into the top of the umbrella. You see?
Okay.
And so it was random. They kind of put them both out. Also, there was a variant on a couple of the cards. Most of the Penguins, if you look at the logos, the fade goes from dark to light or light to dark on superheroes.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So they flipped it on some of them. We don't know why. They just exist. But
have you got a preference out of the two?
well, I like most of them start with the dark on the bottom. And that I think is what I remember. So
cool.
But the Penguin, there's the superheroes Penguin.
Yep.
There's the superpowers Penguin.
Right.
It's almost like they took the mold and just like recast it. It's eerily close.
Yeah. Almost. Ooh.
The big difference is the superheroes one didn't have the plug-in tails at the back.
Well, that's not a complete Penguin suit, then, is it?
No, I guess it's not.
The tail at the end. It wins by a tail.
It wins by a tail. Also,
Rat face, how are you, mate? Good to see you.
The Toy Biz one, the teeth aren't painted white, and the Superpowers one, the teeth are a big white smile.
It also looks like they've painted the eye on the Toy Biz one and not the eye on the Kenner one.
Yeah, there's a little bit of facial recognition going on there.
It's almost going to be a clean sweep so far. Toy Biz is not coming out on top yet, but
I'm going to do these, and then I got a question for you at the end, and it might be controversial, but I'm going to go with it. Okay. Now, next up is Lex Luthor. Okay. He is the biggest departure from the Kenner Lex Luthor. And the reason was because he appeared in 1988's Ruby Spears Superman show in this suit.
Right.
And so they said, we're going to but I think they couldn't get a mold made of the Lex Luthor suit because he had this green piece that went on top.
Yeah.
And it had like moving parts, and they had a little button that pressed in the back to get it on there. So I think Toy Biz is like, this is a complex mold. Let's just make a guy in a suit.
Yeah.
Right. So, but if you're 10 years old, 8 years old, which of these Lex Luthors do you want?
Well, I think again, the power suit, the power armor, the best way that he can go up against Superman is probably the preference here. However, I will say Lex Luthor in a suit is a good accompaniment to the collection. If you're going to add any character so far, if you already have the originals, if you're going to pick up any character so far, for me, Lex Luthor would be the one because it gives you an alternate choice for your Lex Luthor gameplay.
Exactly. Now, the funny thing about this Lex Luthor is his head sculpt is incredibly funnily. He's so happy. He couldn't be happy. And when you push his power punch action, he would punch himself right in the face. You can see in the package there, he's punched himself right in the eye. Now, I think an opportunity missed here is they should have had his hand be a magnet.
Yes.
So like he could knock over Superman. I think that if his hand would have been a magnet, I would have been like, oh, he's as powerful in this case as the power suit Lex Luthor.
So it almost looked like he's wearing a kryptonite ring in that picture.
It's painted green. There's a green line painted on it.
It is? Oh, okay.
It's not sculpted, but they just painted a green line.
Excellent. Okay. At least they went that far.
Yeah. So they put a little bit of effort in there. But if his hand would have been a magnet, it would have been great. Would have been great.
Almost makes for a interesting Professor X too.
Yeah. So I definitely used this guy as my Professor X for a while.
Or a Slim Kingpin. Slim Pin.
Slim Pin?
Yeah.
King Slim.
King Slim, yeah.
All right. Now this next one is the biggest culprit of looking like a superpowers figure, I think.
Okay.
So we have Mr. Freeze here.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Mr. Freeze as a Toy Biz figure,
Yeah.
and this is Mr. Freeze as a superpowers figure. It's eerily similar.
You know, I also think that he would make for a great king.
A great King Arthur?
Yeah, great King Arthur. Yeah, Lex, Kingpin, Xavier, get together for a card game. Let's make this happen. I think the problem is that they couldn't get together for a card game because the reflection off their chrome domes
Blind.
would give away what cards they had. Again, I mean, there's extra happening, isn't there, on the Kenner figure?
So the Kenner
Right.
figure, when you squeeze his legs together, the guns on his belt would move like this and shoot.
Yep.
His helmet was dyed purple, so it kind of looked like he was cool.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
You can see these like those little shoelaces, those tubes on his legs.
Yep.
Those were all removed for the Toy Biz figure, and his power was if you put him in the fridge, his head would turn blue.
I like that he looks just as shocked as we are in the picture of him. He's like, what?
Right.
I change color? Yeah, you do. Yeah, again, tough. They almost look exactly the same, but obviously Kenner over there it's got a little bit extra happening.
Yeah.
So I'm again sorry, Toy Biz. I love Toy Biz, but yeah, Kenner's done it again.
Yeah. So, but here can I do on your channel? Can I do a little confessional? Can I do a little confession?
Of course, absolutely.
So I have a very extensive and fond attachment to the Kenner Superpowers figures, and I've got a good collection of them as well that I quite love. I have not yet been able to find a Kenner Mr. Freeze. In my cabinet, I've got a Toy Biz Mr. Freeze hanging out with them as a placeholder.
It works though.
Because they look so similar.
It works.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also something that's neat about this Mr. Freeze character. And I'm going to get a little object lesson here
Oh, okay.
from my Toy Biz.
Yeah, no, he doesn't come with a gun. He just comes with changing color. But a freeze gun would have been cool.
Just changing color.
Yeah.
The plastic.
I guess neither of them had.
No, neither of them had guns. But the plastic that they used for Mr. Freeze with the Toy Biz, it's the only Toy Biz figure like it, and everyone does it. And it's not for the Kenner one either. It's so rubbery.
Right.
Like it's just all bendy and like gooey. Like it's yeah, it's weirdly gooey, the plastic that they use in soft. I don't know why. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's going in and out of the freezer all the time.
Yeah, probably.
Oftentimes you'll find him with his legs bent like this, and he's hard to stand in there. There's no rigidity to this plastic whatsoever.
Hey, Stephen.
Hey,
Good to see you,
Steve.
bud.
Hey, Steve Hall.
Oh, man. That's
a tricky one.
They should call him Mr. Gummy.
Mr. Gummy.
Yeah.
Mr. Gummy. Now,
Mr.
I'm Mr. Gummy. That's all I got.
That's all I needed.
We've got the Riddler here, my friend.
Yeah, we do.
Where have you seen this figure before? Think hard.
Yep. This looks a lot like. Does he have kicking action?
He's got kicking action. It's just a repainted flash mold.
I knew it.
Yeah.
So the joke, if you're not aware of, is I during a games night falsely thought that the Flash had kicking action because of his super running skills, but I was wrong. He does not have the kicking action. So yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So even to the point where Riddler's boots have the treads on them that the Flash has had to have extra grip.
Yes.
And so this was clearly we have a Flash mold that we have, but we need to have more Batman villains. We got to tie this into the Batman movie.
Oh,
who can the Flash be? So they chose the Riddler. Now, because the Flash was a little bit smaller in the Toy Biz line, or in the Kenner line, the Riddler is a lot smaller than the other villains. So at the point where he almost looks like a teenage boy compared to Batman if they're going to fight. And
it comes with riddles and clues. I will say he does look Flash, though.
He does look Flash. He looks Flash. But yeah, his action feature was just literally paper riddles.
Paper riddles.
It was riddles on paper. And he's the only one that really started cutting corners that has exposed screws on his back because they were like, just screw them together. Just get him real quick. And so, yeah, he's a famous kind of like low point in this first wave. So, the first wave, they really tried to just be Kenner.
Mm.
And, until you see them next to them, right? Until on their own, they look all right. They look all right. And you get them there and you're like, ooh, I don't.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You see the glaring difficulty.
Yeah.
But that being said, this wave here, because I was 81, so I was 10 when these came out.
Mm.
So I was a little young when the superpowers came out. So I maybe didn't treat them as well as I should have. When these came out, I cherished them.
Yeah.
Right, like these were my DC toys coming out. Luckily enough, I had the long missile penguin. I thought that was a better version of the penguin. My buddy Steven had the one that just shot the umbrella top off, and I thought mine was cooler because it had this missile. But I wonder if they would have saved. So the missile came out first, and then they recalled it because it's a choking hazard. Because it's just a long, skinny missile.
Yeah.
And then they did the umbrella thing. But it's just funny some of the decisions that they made. Like the exposed. I would rather have a Wonder Woman with no action feature, without a big switch on her back and an arm in the air.
Right. Hey, Vader.
Hey, Vader. Like that to me is an interesting choice. I think the high point for me is the magnet in Superman's chest. I think that's brilliant. I love that.
That is the best alteration to a gimmick is having Superman have that effect of the kryptonite. I will give that top marks. Yep.
So I think the card art for this line was great. I think it's underrated how good those artist depictions are. Right. So the Robin card always bothered me because there was a green swoosh where his arm was coming down for a karate chop action.
Yeah. It does make his leg look a little bit odd.
They cut out the swoosh, so it's just part on his leg. So again, it was like the Wild West. It was like, put it to print, let it go, and get it done. But very, very cool thing that happened where they're like, we're just going to try and do Kenner. We're just going to do Kenner, and we're going to try and make it and see if anybody notices. Right? Like this, it's such a weird way to do things that you never would now. So on next week's show, we're going to talk about DC Wave 2 and Marvel Wave 1. And because they used the Flash mold up with the Riddler, they altered it. They started doing some of their own interpretations of people. Things really going to go askew next week. And
I can't wait for that.
There's some really interesting choices. But I would say Superman is a solid figure with a solid power action. Yep. I think Wonder Woman's a miss for me. I think Robin looks great. So Superman and Robin are both guys that I would be a fan of. The Penguin and Mr. Freeze are too close to call. I think they're just interchangeable. I like the addition of a different Lex. That granted, this Lex Luthor is great, but the one in the power suit, like you say, adds a little more to it. And in all the movies we saw, Lex Luthor wasn't in a power suit. So a lot of what we were imitating, right?
Exactly.
So that was fine. But what haven't we talked about this week? What was the best part of the Batman line, Basil?
The playset. The
playsets and the vehicles. And there was none for this.
Yeah.
They put all their playset and vehicle money into that. So
I think I had the invisible jet though, and I've still got that somewhere, but I can't remember where I put it.
I got a whole box of them.
Right. I couldn't give them away.
But can you imagine if instead of giving Joker a motorcycle, they gave Robin a motorcycle?
Right. Perfect.
Right? Like that to me makes more sense. You know, there was choices that were made. Yeah, Bob the
Agreed.
Goon. We talked about Bob the Goon a lot of
I think
love
so
for Bob
far,
the Goon.
Bob the Goon might be my favorite Toy Biz figure.
Right.
So
So
far, that.
there is, and I made a promise last week, which I didn't keep because we have had a little bit of some family stuff go on. I'm going to be going to a funeral tomorrow for my grandfather. So I haven't had as much time to tinker around as I wanted to. But starting next week, we're going to have Toy Biz alternate Goon heads. And so I'm going to be making a Bob the Goon alternate head each week so we can have all the goons in the Batman movie and not more. And then...
Can we be goons?
Yeah, we're going to definitely make ourselves as goons.
Yeah, let's be goons. Let's make Largo a goon. Because could you imagine Largo the goon with the cool hat?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you want to be a goon, a goon, comment not in the live chat, but comment on the video, and we'll say if you get enough likes on your comment, voting kind of style, who should be the next goon. Maybe we'll do all of our chat people as goons, and then
That sounds fun.
and then this summer, when we have all of our goons made up, I'll make a clock tower playset.
Oh yes,
And then we'll put goons in it.
love it.
Can you imagine if they made a clock tower playset that was just one level with a bell, but it was modular, so you could buy more and make it as tall as you wanted,
That would have been cool.
like a staircase?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to. So with if we could go through the characters just one more time.
Yeah.
And I'll give my final verdict.
Your final verdict.
Some shout outs to you and your grandfather there, Ad.
Thanks. He was 98, so he lived a good long life. We're sad to see him go, but we're happy he's at peace.
Here's a good question: did Bob the Goon ever make it into the main DC continuity?
So I think he's appeared in the Batman '89, the Batman '89 comic. I don't think he's made it into the real continuity, because shortly after the movie came out, Harley Quinn was invented, and she became Joker's right-hand goon.
Yeah. Which, I think I prefer Bob the Goon. Lagoon is his Motu villain name. That makes sense.
That makes totally sense. Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh man! All right, so I want to give my verdict as we go through.
So not which is better, but out of 10. If Kenner's a 10, how good does Toy Biz do? Ready?
All right.
Superman.
So Kenner is a 10. I'm going to give Superman, I'm going to give him a solid 8. And the reason being is that I love the gimmick. It is a great gimmick. They could have easily put the Kryptonite ring in with Lex Luthor, but I like that they packed him in with Superman so that you've got instant playability happening here.
Yeah.
So he's other than some of the obvious cosmetic differences, I do think that this gimmick of the Kryptonite ring and the magnet is a better gimmick than the punch. Not that there's anything wrong with the punch. The punch is iconic. But I'm gonna give him a solid 8. Yeah, let's give him an 8.
Absolutely. Wonder Woman. Kenner is a 10.
Kenner is a 10. I think I'm gonna have to give her a 1. It's look. I'll be a little bit more fair here because I do like the look of the face. The face is sculpted well. I can't fault it on that. I think I'll give it a 2, and the reason being is that it's bad enough that one of the arms is so far up all the time, but the other arm is so close to her body that she just looks too rigid.
Right.
So the boots, they don't look quite as cool. The stars, they seem to be less, and in some cases none.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm going to give it a 2. Is that too harsh, guys? Is 2 too much? Is 2 too harsh? Too harsh. Yeah. Yeah, I'll give it a 2.
Phil
like to get-
wants to get some Toy Biz figures, huh?
On
Well,
card
Phil,
next. Okay.
I don't know if I can get you some Toy Biz figures, but I can probably get you some Sharon figures over here in Canada.
Ooh.
See what we can
Ozzy's
find.
here. Ozzy. How are you, bud?
All right. Next up,
2.
Robin.
I do feel like this one's pretty close. There are actually some preferences that I have on Robin. So the preferences being that the belt buckle is a little bit more appropriate, a little bit further down. I do feel like the straps across him or buckles, whatever they may be, thinner lines make it look better than the thick lines. The cape's not as cool. I'm gonna give Robin an 8 as well, because I feel like it's the proportions are good, and anything other that's minor cosmetically is not a be all and end all.
Not a deal breaker.
It's almost there. I'll give it an 8 as well. So as close as Superman is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And plus, it comes with the karate chop action, and he comes with a what is that? The batarang? Did you say?
A batarang and a grappling hook.
He does look a little bit pasty. Yeah.
Yeah.
So accessories are pretty good. He does come with a cape, which is pretty good. It should be standard, but you never know these days. Okay. 8.
A lot of play value in that Robin figure.
I agree. Yeah.
All right. Penguin.
So it's close, but the fact it doesn't have the tail. What was the gimmick for the Kenner version?
A sword came out of his umbrella.
That's pretty messed up.
And his arms did this as well.
Okay. Like I'd be hesitant to give that Penguin a 10 on either end, but if Kenner's Penguin is a 10, I'm gonna say like it's close enough, but it's the tail just detracts from it. Yeah. I'm gonna give this one, because it is so close, I will give it a 7.
Perfect. 7. That's a great number. Okay, Lex. If Kenner's a 10, what do you give Lex?
Yeah. Other than the fact that he punches himself in the head.
Right in the head.
I'd love to see them side by side, him and Bob the Goon. Maybe in another episode. I don't hate this figure. I think that the sculpting is a bit rough, but I think that it gives, like I said before, it gives you an alternate take on Lex Luthor. We did have the suited Lex Luthor in the movies, and this is, I think, because we've got Batman movie, and we're tying in with the Batman movie, that this does tie in well with the Superman movie. I would give this one, like I almost have to give it a 10 out of 10 for originality.
Yeah. And I think this is the thing. If Toy Biz would have flexed their muscles a little bit and had their own takes on stuff, I think it would have been more fun than remembered. I think it's often remembered as not Kenner, right?
Right. He doesn't look bad. It's not a bad figure. It looks like an appropriate toy. Version of Lex Luthor outside of battle armor. But yeah, all right. It's polled, but I'm gonna give him a 10 out of 10 for being an original action figure.
Very good. All right, so Freeze here.
I'm gonna say if the original one's a 10. I'm gonna give him 5. Like it's not. It does look close. It does look close to it, and the reason why I'm giving it a 5 is I like the colors. I like the color changing gimmick. That's fine, but it doesn't come with a weapon. I'm pretty sure the other one didn't either. But this has got a weapon holding hand. Right. So if you've got a weapon holding hand, give him a gun. The gumminess of the parts that you showed me makes it feel like a little bit cheaper. Yeah. And the dome being clear, did that change color as well? The dome or just the parts?
Just his arms and his head.
I'll give it a 5. So it's not bad, but it's not that good either.
And this looks like someone traced a picture. Yeah. Like, look what I drew. Yeah. All right, so this one isn't really fair, but if we see Wally or Barry Allen dressed up as the Riddler for Halloween,
How well is this cosplay Riddler?
Yeah.
He doesn't come with the cane. You know, like didn't there wasn't later iterations of the Riddler have like a cane and a hat and
cane and a hat.
So, but you know what? The ingenuity, because they've at least sculpted a belt on him as well.
Yep.
It's a bit hard. It's a bit hard. Let's give him a 5 as well. For ingenuity, like it's not, and 5 isn't a bad score. It's just there's nothing really jumping out about it. But I'll be fair and meet him halfway, because at least it's they resculpted some parts like the belt.
Yep.
And the head, obviously, it's not bad, but if it's not great.
But so, I would give it 5 just in the fact that you can now have a character you never had. There was never a superpower as Riddler.
Yeah. Well, that's fair too. All right, so maybe 5's too harsh, then, considering that they actually decided to bring out a character. I'll bump him up to a 6.
Yeah.
Just for that.
Yeah. So like I say, you do, Phil. So I would say this first wave of DC at the time, for a company that didn't know what they were doing. Right? We got to remember this. This is their first attempt at action figures. Was this Batman superheroes line, trying to copy one of, if not the greatest superhero action figures of all time, the Kenner line. They swung for the fences. But here's a question I want to say: Who did it better? Who did it better? Toy Biz or McFarlane?
Toy Biz for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
Those especially that first wave of McFarlane ones were not great.
No, so everyone loved the concept of it when he first announced that he was going to be doing it, and I think that's a great idea. But I think it was, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think it was advertised as being able to supplement the line with new characters, and then they just brought out the same ones that they'd already had, and then they made them out of scale to the ones that Kenner did.
No action powers. They had pins in the knees. Like it was a lot wrong. I've not heard anyone in the chat that collects the McFarlane ones. I'd be interested to hear your verdict on it. I've seen them, but I haven't done anything with them. I don't own any, but none of them sort of jumped out as, I've got to have this. Yeah, and you can get vintage carded Toy Biz figures for about the same price as new McFarlane figures, and I think that's a better place to spend your money.
I think so. So Planet Decepticonica says, I have them, but they are missing their charm with no gimmick.
Yeah.
Did you feel ripped off?
I've been in a store a number of times, and you pick up the package, and you're like, this is great. But is it?
Yeah, because it's the nostalgia of it all.
Yeah.
So did you? Here we go. Toddy Mac bamboozled us. The vehicles are nice though. What vehicles do they have that might be good to supplement your line with?
The Supermobile was good. I liked that. It was like had some punching comic action thing. The Batcopter or the Batwing that they did was good. But to me, I just like, there's no nostalgia there. It's just like, this is cool, but it's hard pass.
Gotcha. So did you think that I ranked them?
You ranked them exactly how I ranked them.
Oh, exactly. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, good. I feel good about that then.
No, it was exactly, you made exactly the right call. So that was our first DC wave. Now next week, we're going to be doing DC Wave 2, Marvel Wave 1, because there's a transition year there. And,
okay.
And so we're going to do a thing where we're going to look at the DC line, look at the Marvel line, and then we're going to compare one for one, and we're going to allot points, and we're going to see which line came out better. And
it's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough, but I don't think it's going to be a very fair fight.
I don't think it's going to be. I am so pro Marvel. I was a Marvel fanboy. It's going to be super hard for me to say that the worst Marvel figure is worse than the best DC figure.
Yeah, I'll show you this as a preview before we get going. One of the prized possessions in my collection, my carded collection.
I refuse to study. No homework for me. Eldor is saying that he did pick up the McFarlane Superpowered Superman. His legs are a bit too close together, but he decided to customize him up to be the Superman from the Christopher Reeves movies.
Excellent. I've seen some guys do that, and it's great.
Okay, cool.
But I have this Marvel unpunched, mint condition Toy Biz Superman or Toy Biz Spider-Man, but it's
Open it.
Last time they used the Sharon logo.
Crack it open. Punch the hole.
But this Spider-Man was a game changer for me. Yeah,
such a great concept. And I will say, and we'll get to it when we get to Nightcrawler as well with the suction caps. It's tricky as a adult collector to look back on that gimmick with anything but a mix of thinking that it's awesome and also limiting its other playability, having a giant. But we'll get to those.
Yeah, we'll get to the suction cup talk later.
Yeah. We'll get there. Hey, Cutthroat Comics, how are you, buddy? We actually sat down.
Great stream last night with him. You guys did.
Yeah. It was great to hang out.
So,
we shot the shit.
Absolutely. But I have a meeting to get to tonight. So this was our DC Wave 1. And I'm excited about next week. And Zazel, it's always the best hanging out with you, buddy.
Oh, yeah. Thanks to everyone in the chat as well for hanging out. Do leave a comment in the video if you want to be gooned. I love that. If you want to be gooned. Do you want to be gooned? I definitely want to be gooned. If I can get gooned, that'd make me so happy. But Adam, thanks for hanging out. Thank you for putting together the slides for me as well. This show, I don't know a lot about the DC side of it, so I'm learning stuff here. But I have a feeling we're going to be clashing as buddies. I think that we're going to be clashing with DC versus Marvel over where our allegiances lie. But absolutely. I'll leave it with that. Good luck with your meeting ads. I'll see you next week. Until then, here's the outro. Love this outro.